So before we got on, we were just shooting the shit, and we were talking about clients that want to use some of their own infrastructure in the build out in the process, whether it be call tracking or a website or a landing page. And I'd like us to go through kind of what we were just talking about. I'm going to start with Nick, because Nick had a great way of describing it and it made me laugh just thinking about it. So Nick, talk to me about what you say to clients that are kind of insistent that you should be using their infrastructure and their marketing assets.
Yeah. So we have customers that ask us, do you want to do the my way, your way? Or are we talking about the CMO issue? Or is that a separate question? Do we go through that next?
I think there may be even one and the same, but the one I want the 90s reference. That's kind of what I was thinking.
So huge 90s movie buff. We call it the now I'm losing track. We call it the Days of Thunder theory. And in Days of Thunder, Tom Cruise was really bad at driving a car and he wore tires out. So his pit crew boss was like, run 50 laps my way, 50 laps your way. We'll see whose tires end up best at the end. And then we'll figure out who's right. So I sort of use that analogy when we're talking to clients and they say, I'd really like to use this landing page or this style or do this ad copy. And we tell them, we can definitely test it. Ultimately, it's your money. You're paying us for that expertise, but we're always up for trying stuff out. So we'll run 2 weeks their way, 2 weeks our way. We'll usually lead in with ours because if it's a new account, so if it's a new campaign, we want that new campaign to flourish properly. So we'll run it 2 weeks our way. And then we'll run it 2 weeks theirs to show them what that looks like. And you'll see that dip. So they'll get a nice flow of leads coming in. And then when we change it over and say, okay, we're going to change it over to your style. Sometimes they'll come in and be like, no, everything's good. Don't do it. But then when we run it their way, we're able to show them pure data and saying, hey, look, if we run this to the homepage, which is my favorite thing. Well, my homepage is amazing. And my homepage has a giant photo of me on it. So people are going to get it that I sell real estate. Like, no, they don't. They want to see houses. So when we have that come up where they want to show something or they have a special homepage that loads at 5 or 6 seconds instead of at 0.8 seconds, we'll run it their way, show them how terrible the results are. And then they'll be like, okay, yeah, you were right. We've never lost on that. And that's because we're professionals in that, right? They can probably sell a house better than I can. I guarantee they can do a better job of selling a house than me, or helping somebody buy a house or negotiate that. So we sort of say, establish dominance in that sense and saying, we'll do it just like the Days of Thunder. Most people that I talk to have seen that movie and they understand that reference. Some of them are confused. So I just send them the YouTube link to it if they want to see it. No different than Glenn Ross video. I mean, I send that to a lot of people when they come back and tell me the leads are weak.
That's awesome.
Oh, I need to check that one out. Yeah,
I like that.
Send me that one.
Yeah, Mark, will do.
How about you on using client infrastructure? And I know that you're in a bit different of a situation in that you're heavy white label, but still, what would your typical response be in that scenario?
My typical response has varied over the course of history to like, yeah, we'll be amenable and we'll work with you. And more it's leaning towards, not just no, but hell no, here's what we do. Because we offer essentially a package. If you want to get outside of that, you want to work on some other type of basis, we could do that. But we're in a situation right now where I took on a client with their own landing pages. We can't set up tracking because we don't have admin access. They keep setting the container up wrong. We're going to bill them again shortly. Client, you know who you are. And they're going to be like, why are you billing me? You haven't done anything. Well, I am sitting here every freaking day doing something, trying to get access to your pages, which we could have running 3 weeks ago. Yep. A more recent, matter of fact, today is, and this is why I'm like moving away from it, because it's just not productive for us or the client, is like, why aren't my unbounced pages secure? Oh, because they're in your account, not in mine. I don't know. You insisted we put them in yours. I don't know. Yeah. I know mine pages are good.
Yep.
But I don't know why your pages aren't good. and I don't really want to know why your pages aren't good. And sorry, that sounds terrible, but it is what it is. I've also told people we're not on your Slack, we're not in your Basecamp, we're not in your, I can't be at 100 different systems.
Mhm.
You have to do things a certain way to be productive and to give value to your clients. And we're not giving value to our clients if we're letting them build out the landing pages the way they want them, or build out landing pages without a phone number or call tracking on them.
Yep.
Or, we're just not doing our job at that point.
Yep. It's like going
in my
through
opinion.
a Tesla ordering process or a car ordering process and be like, you know what? I've got my own car doors I'd like to put into that.
Exactly.
Boom.
Maybe,
I like that.
but yeah, it's just, you got to go through your assembly line process, and if things divert off that, it should cost more because you're breaking the system, you're breaking the line.
Right.
But we offer buckets of hours to people that just want that sort of thing. I'm fine.
And
We
that's
can
fine,
spend
yeah.
as many hours as you want trying
Right.
to get your conversion tracking set up on your page. I don't mind.
Right.
But it's not productive for either one of us if we're trying to launch something effectively and get leads.
Yep.
Yeah.
My 2 cents on it is when we go back to our magic formula, you got your 3 things to make a campaign work. You got the right keywords, right ad copy, right landing page, and you got to do them in buckets and think about them in buckets. And if you start testing one of those, let's assume we've been in every market that we're going to take a new client in 95% of the time. Nick, you're 100% of the time.
Yep.
Mark and I, it's going to be 95% of the time. And then you got those random one-off niches that we haven't been in.
Mhm.
The way I look at it is if you've got you've got your known assets in those markets, your known entities, the campaign you can clone, the keywords, the ad copy, the landing page variation. As soon as you steer off that and go to something else, you're testing an unknown variable that is going to throw off the results. And with Google AI, a lot of the AI is based on the traffic converting, not just getting the click. So if you start with something that's going to underperform, that's going to throw off your ability to get conversions later in the campaign, because all the data is being produced on an under converting asset, if you will. So it's got a knock-on effect. And our thing is, if you're going to test something, test the landing page last, because that's the last tranche that you work through in the process. That's how we kind of talk to clients about it. And you've hired a professional team to do this for you. Unless you've built and managed campaigns and can convert traffic and have a history of it, let us do our thing. And then the last thing I say to be not as jerky as possible, but just as realistic as possible. If your brand was as good as you think it is, people would be going directly to your brand versus going to Google looking for something. I'll give you an example in the removal space. A lot of people get nervous about big franchises being in their market. 1-800-GOT-JUNK, college hunks calling junk, that kind of stuff. And my thing is that's good. That means there's money to be made in your market. But think about if they were as popular as you think they are,
they wouldn't be running ads.
They wouldn't be running ads, but also the market would just be going directly to them. And
Right.
This huge flush of search traffic there. So brand is very important in the long run, but take it with a grain of salt when it comes to Google Ads, because it isn't as big as people think it is, even for a big franchise.
Yep.
We had a recent case where we ran a branded campaign at request of the client. That was really their key thing, was we went branded search terms, and it spent nothing. And they're like, why isn't it spending? Like, because no one knows you exist. Let's run display ads, but we can't make people search for you.
Yeah.
Right.
But know you exist.
Yeah.
We can do branding, but keyword search for a brand that no one knows is not highly effective.
Yeah. And if you think about all the companies that have that brand equity, they've spent tens of billions or tens of millions of dollars to build that and earn that in the market.
Yeah.
So, we get that a lot with companies that want to do booking or reservation pages on local businesses. And I'm like, I get it, but you're not hotels.com, you're not Uber, you're not something that's earned the right to ask for someone's credit card in the lead gen process. And you're just trying to eliminate the step of having to talk to the lead and sell the lead. You're going to skyrocket your cost per lead, and it's gonna hurt performance, and you're not going to like the yield. So why not start with lead gen? Let's prove the point, dial in your cost per lead, and then we could always split test on the back end. That's typically how we say to clients.
I recently looked at a client's account and they weren't converting. They were converting, but it was at extremely high cost. And I'm like, there's something going on here, obviously. And there were the usual rookie type of, or typical, some mistakes in the campaigns, or mistakes from my point of view. But it was only after the fact that I learned that they had integrated a booking. They didn't want calls. They didn't want forms. They wanted people to book appointments, which means you're going to cut your conversion rate. I mean, that's perfect.
Yep.
If you're, if you have the brand equity, if people trust you, but really all you're trying to do is shortcut the process of actually talking to your clients, selling your clients.
Right.
And that's not on your ad campaign. That's on people's trust of you and willingness to just sign up to have someone drop by their house and do an estimate.